actually have a presentation from an amazing woman I met this morning. I'm so sorry, I'm running ahead. This woman I met over coffee, and she left an indelible mark. And the session is called Shoppers to Shapers, How Women Will or May Not Define the 21st Century. I invite Susan, founder of Smart Women Rising, to join me up on stage at the podium. While she does that, I'd like to highlight something that I found very interesting on her bio. Apart from having an extraordinarily interesting career in the travel industry and beyond, she has run over 20 years of transformational intensive and workshops worldwide on practical spirituality and cross-cultural traditions to more than 1,000 people in the United States. This is fascinating because being transformational and being spiritual is a very important element of leadership, especially in a region like this. So Susan, can't wait to hear what you have to say. Thank you.
Much. Thank you, everybody. I'm so privileged to be here. And the first thing I'd like to do is acknowledge each of you for being here, all the delegates and the speakers, because it took something to get here, didn't it? You know, aside from the planes, I just met a fantastic group from Ghana. Some of you are local, 25 minutes away or whatever, but it took some organizing, right? So let me just ask you, how many of you here have children? Can we just raise our hands? Oh my God, I love it. So that took some organizing, right? You got to deal with the kids just to get away. How many of you have spouses? Yeah, that took more organizing, right? And how many of you have parents and pets and day jobs or entrepreneurships? That's the one I love, the woman who was speaking on the platform, leaves her son at daycare or wherever it was. Yeah, we all know that, right? And maybe you had to get to the store to pick up a last-minute item or make sure there was everything the household needed before you left, or doing some last-minute online paying bills or filling in some forms while you're closing the suitcase. Does this sound familiar to anybody? Or are you all single-focused, one thing at a time? You finish it, you put it aside, you take on the next thing? Yeah, I know. Okay. So when we stack all of those demands went on, and you know, it's interesting, we are such an international group here, but this is women, right? There's a commonality, there's a culture called being a woman, and that's what we're going to talk about. And when you stack all of those demands on top of each other, one on top of the other, okay, you can call it organizing, but we call it juggling. And we're expert jugglers. We are wives, some of us are mothers, some of us are both, and all of us are daughters. And this has made us excellent jugglers. And we're going to talk about our excellent juggling skills a little bit later, while they are our best friend and our worst enemy, and the price we pay for being oh so capable. But first I want to talk about something else that we as women do exceptionally well. How is this microphone? Is it good? Not too loud? Because I could probably do this without a microphone. Okay. So I want to talk about another skill that we have. It's really, we don't get much credit for it, but it is our secret power. And when we do think about it, I want to say when we think about women's secret powers, we might think of our ability to communicate and to forgive, where we build bridges, or maybe our ability to charm and get what we want, because that's us too, right? Or our ability to teach and raise our children. Our ability to carry, care, and care for. But the secret power I want to talk about is rarely discussed as a power. It's usually seen as a hobby or a pastime, and sometimes a fault. Anybody have any idea what it is? Sorry? Communication? Yeah, we got that. But it's not our secret power. Compromising, yeah. So all of these are fabulous qualities which we embody and we can all perfect as we go. But I'm going to talk to you about something nobody talks about. Our secret power in today's world and in today's marketplace is we shop and we talk. We shop and we talk, and we're experts at both, and we probably all have some man in our life who would like us to do a whole lot less of both of those, right? But I'm not making jokes about stereotypes here. I'm talking about the two key elements of today's marketplace: influence and impact. And women hold the reins to both of those. Now, you know I'm from the States, and it's no secret that the US economy strongly influences the global economy. But what you might not know is that American women comprise 80% of consumer spending in the United States. It's 12 trillion of 14 trillion of the gross domestic product, the GDP. Women are spending it. The numbers worldwide are just as staggering. Globally, women control 20 trillion of consumer spending. They make the final decision for buying 91% of home purchases, 65% of new cars, 80% of healthcare decisions, 66% of computers, and the numbers are going up. The astonishing fact is that altogether, women represent a growth market that is greater than China and India combined. Almost double. If you're not selling to women, you are not selling. And there's the second thing that we do great, that we're really talented at. It's the talking part. Women are more likely to read online reviews, post online reviews, share with their friends, pass on a tip, talk about a great promotion going on. We share. So when you sell to women, you're more likely that your product will get talked up and talked about. We actually do the upsell. Today, this talking business has become big business. What we used to consider just chatting has become a career option. Influencer marketing, music, fashion, clothes, healthcare, gym workshop, shoes, everything that we buy is being marketed through women online. Soft drinks. 93% of all of the major corporations are using influencer marketing. Do you know about influencer marketing? Do you know what that is? It started with celebrities representing a product, Nike shoes. They get some big basketball player to rep them. But now, where it's gone is online influencer marketing. We have teenagers who have 500,000 and 1 million followers. And so a company will team with them to get the exposure. You can't guarantee 1 million looks in a print ad. That's impossible. It's the fastest growing sector of advertising industry worldwide. We have parents who are promoting their precocious toddlers, who are talking at age 2. They have 50,000 or 100,000 followers. But 86% of the largest online influencers, you know it, it's women. The short version is that women shop and women talk. We talk to other women who are doing the exact same thing, and in the process, we are defining the global economy. Or are we? I've been talking about what we buy. We buy a lot. But what's more important, and the reason I created and founded Smart Women Rising, is to talk about what we buy into. Because you see, more important than what we buy is what has influenced us to buy what we buy. Who's making our decisions, really? Now, I know we like to think it's us, particularly us modern women. Particularly in the Emirates, my gosh, you guys are so incredibly advanced and modern and with it. I'm so impressed. But this business of influence is at the root of it all. So we're going to take a closer look. Influence is not cosmetic, and it isn't new. Before you sell a product or an idea, you got to convince the client they need it. You got to get people talking. Big pharmaceutics companies, they're on it. You got to sell a disease before you pop the pill. And you got to convince everybody that disease is coming near you very soon. 1 out of 3, 1 out of 2, 1 out of 5, better take it. That's influence. That creates conversations. The kinds of conversations that are making our decisions for us are bigger than just this year's new color or this year's latest model. The conversations making our decisions for us are conversations about what we should be doing and how we should be doing it. They're deliberately created and generated by expert influencers who know how to sway public thought. Today, brain science tells us that 7 seconds before we've made a decision, you know that decision you've gone back and forth with and you've thought and you've gotten advice and finally you make that decision, they're telling us that 7 seconds before that, your brain already decided what you were going to be deciding. And I will tell you this, 7 months before your brain made that decision, 7 seconds before you did, someone influenced you and me and made the decision for our brains. These master influencers, these conversation creators, they know how to do it. So we, the people controlling 80% of the economy, we better know how they do it. Because we women are their target audience. Now, we all come from different countries here, different generations, different cultures, and personal families. All our families are different. And it's impossible to detail all the conversations that we have each inherited and the ones we've been sold. They're conversations about sexuality, our place in society, about what we're supposed to do in our lives, with our lives, and when we are supposed to do it. And men have the same indoctrination, just different dialogues. So I just picked 2 in the space that we're speaking about directly today, specifically women's empowerment. Conversations that I call tricksters, because they promise liberation and freedom, but in fact they keep us as consumers versus creators. They keep us as shoppers instead of shapers. The first one is personal development, what we call in the West self-help. Personal development is a really wonderful thing because it tells us we can be more. We can progress, we can do better. But underlying the premise of the promise is not just what we can get, that we can get better, it's that we need to. It's not just that we can do more, it's that we should be doing more. Now, being our best self is not a new concept. All religious teachings always have emphasized striving to be faithful and generous and good and kind. In a word, a good person. But up until very, very recently, being good was in relation to a higher principle, Allah, God, the infinite, something bigger than us, the divine being. In today's commercial world, all that has been secularized, moving from really virtuous and spiritual focus to the quest of being more. More, better, faster, quicker. That's not a spiritual conversation. That's spiritual consumerism. And while today's latest buzz phrase, which is be your best you, it might sound benign, but beneath its premise is something that drives consumerism and invades women's hearts. It is that we are not yet enough. We buy into that promise to the sum of an estimated $12 billion annually. Self-help and self-empowerment. And everyone knows that women are the biggest buyers of self-improvement. Now that's the US alone, but the major mentors and motivational gurus are exporting their books, trainings, and recorded talks. They're streaming their conferences worldwide. It's an American export. It's an ideology that is exported like many from the West. And it's created a mindset and a lifestyle and a creed we have all bought into, regardless of our religious persuasions or if we have one. We are all believers and we can do more. And now, even more is not enough. The new, improved promise is that we can do it all. We can be it all. We can have it all. And we capable, superpowered women, we're up to it. How much of our lives are spent working towards, running after, juggling 1,000,001 things? There's that juggling I said I was going to come back to. Stress eating, then trying to drop the extra 5 kilos, make a difference, give back, get to the gym and eat some kale. Is kale a conversation here in Dubai like it is in the States? Yeah. I mean, kale is a conversation. Kale got promoted. You know, we're still trying to get some press time, right? Kale's got it. Being a woman is sold to us as a very busy business and an expensive one. It might be why we're spending all that money, you know, that's controlling the economy. It's just to like keep us going practically. And we keep buying into better. So we get better and we get better and we get better because that's what we're buying. But do we ever just get well? And you know what I mean? And I know you know what I mean. We're tired. It's exhausting. We need a new conversation about being women, one defined for women, by women, about women. And not just a handful of women who get together and say, some 60 years ago, this is women's liberation. We're going to focus on 1 or 2 things. No, a conversation that is generated by the 100 or so, however many we have here, 200 in this room, that kind of conversation. And we need to take it global, the way all these other conversations have gone global. And to do that, we need to start from a different premise, something outside of becoming, getting better, and always trying to get somewhere. And the minute you get there, you're trying to get someplace further. Now, you might be thinking that the new conversation for women is about empowerment. That's the second myth I want to talk about. And Christina was stealing my show. Every time she got on stage, I was like, oh my gosh, no wonder we hit it off so well. The context for women's empowerment is pretty much centered around very arguable points. We don't earn equal pay. We aren't represented equal in government. And I know about many of the initiatives here in Dubai, which are just amazing, in the Emirates, actually. C-level jobs, science and technology. You have a mandate on science and technology, 50% of the Emirates space program is women, 25% of your ministers. It's impressive. It's a rare country, and you know that, and should be very proud to be part of it. Yeah, thank you. And all of these areas are vitally important to the progress and maybe the survival of humankind. But underlying our conversations about women's advancement, underlying it, just scrape through the surface a little bit, is that we don't have power, and we don't have enough of it. We need to get some. 100 years ago, American women believed that if only we could vote, we'd have the power. It's 100 years ago, 2020 is our centennial of the vote. Well, how well did that work out? Now the promise is that working in technology will give it to us, breaking through the glass ceiling will give it to us, earning as much as men will give it to us. We don't have too many men in this group, but I'd just love to ask you, do you all walk around telling yourselves every day that you have all the power? Do you feel like really powerful every day? I would be surprised. Because power is not outside us, no one can give it to us. It's not like gold or oil or Bitcoin. You can't count it, you can't store up on it. You can't go and borrow some from somebody else when you're running a little low. Power is something we are. It's not a thing. It's a do. It's a capacity. But until it's used, it's just a potential. The women's empowerment conversation is a funny thing. Sounds like progress. We control the global economy. We're raising the next generation. We've been raising the next generation since like ever. So maybe we're raising our kids with the same inherited conversations and unexamined conversations our parents passed on to us. This isn't to add more blame to women, because blame is not what I'm selling. It's a glutted market. It goes hand in hand with not being enough, and we've already got enough of not being enough. What I'm selling is the need to get smart. I love all the qualities everybody's brought out about leadership and C-level jobs and all of that. It's just great. But we've got to break certain paradigms and presumptions and propaganda that have kidnapped what could have been a genuine liberation for women. Instead, they've got us fighting for a bigger piece of the same old pie, the more, have it all, be it all, need it all, gotta get it all pie. The world needs a new pie. And we women are the ones to lead the way to creating it with men. Because we have another secret power. It's our biology. Our biology is not our weakness, it's our strength. From the time we are very little girls, we learn that we have a secret place inside us, a space that can carry another human being. We learn that our tummies will get very, very big, and then we're going to have the baby. We're going to push the baby out. It will come out of us. It will come out of our very own bodies. Our bones will move aside to make room for the new. Now, whether we've personally born children or not, women are built to carry, to care, and to care for. This is not a hindrance. This does not slow us down, except in the conversation that is pushing the propaganda of hustle and grind as a must to get where we're going. They're wrong. The ability to care for another as if that other is our very self is the secret weapon that can still save the world. Because in a world that is ecologically imploding, we need to see the other as ourself, or we will go down with it. I want to leave you with this. The world is a mess. Who better to clean it up than women? We've been cleaning up messes our whole lives. Our kids, our houses, our families, our parents, our pets, our bosses' desks, our desks. Well, we clean up our desks last, right? But in the women's empowerment space, we're being fed another conversation that the powers that be don't want us to fix it. They're keeping us out. I think just the opposite. I think the world is hoping we can fix it. I think it's counting on women to fix it. And we can do it. But we need to get smart. We need new models, methods, and spiritually inspired mindsets, not persuaded by the commercialism of more. We can't show up with the more of what hasn't worked and expect to be heard. In all honesty, why should people at the corporate and political top hand over their positions to us if the only models we have are the same ones they're using and they know they don't work? More of what has not worked is not a strategy. Faster, bigger, better, more, better. It's not a strategy. Women have a secret power. We have, and it's that we have an edge. We don't have the solution, but we have an edge. We are the new kids in town. People are listening to us and maybe only listening because they want our business. So what? We need to use that edge. And the world is hoping we will. But will we? We here in this room, both men and women, are each carving out the promise of an inspired destiny. You do it in your prayers, you do it alone, you do it when you doubt, right? How do I know? I don't know you. I know you're here. That means you show up. We're listening to our calling and answering that call in spite of everything we are not. And along the way, we're coming to discover everything we are. I want to leave you with one last thought. Shoppers have a lot of power. We talked about all that. But shapers are different. Shapers fight for a new dialogue, not just their turn to talk. Shapers define a new sense of authority and power, not one that struts around saying, I'm bigger than you, and then falls on the world and crushes it, but a power that engages the world so it works with them and for everyone. A world that wants to be helpful and part of the story, part of the new story, because it knows it has a place at the table. Shapers, this is our power. We have to use it strategically and audaciously and go against the status quo, challenge ourselves to see how much we're buying into and how much we're being sold before we go and become the sales agents for it ourselves. Do you want to be a shopper of whatever the popular conversations are and influence masters of peddling? Or a world-class shaper who can help define the new conversation and design the 21st century? That's my offer. The 21st century. No, literally. The 21st century. Take it. It's yours. Thank you.
Wow, 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 wow. Very, very impressive.